Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today is June 5th. We have our May Players of the Month, and Cristopher Sanchez, hats off to you. Let's talk about it. Hello, everybody. My name is Steven. This is the middle of the order. How are we doing today, ladies and gentlemen? Do we have a nice little episode for you here today? The baseball this week was great. A little bit of news, and of course, the May Players of the Month. We've got my picks for the AL, NL, and of course, MLB. Will I agree with MLB, or will I have other players who I thought stood out just a little bit more than their picks? We're going to have to find out all of that and more. And why don't we kind of just jump right into it already? Because, it's a nice day for it. I have no idea what I'm saying sometimes. But anyways, let's jump into the AL Players of the Month, my AL Players of the Month for the month of May. Of course, we start at the catcher position, and of course, it is once again going to Shea Langeliers. He's been probably one of the best catchers all season long. He was this in April. He's going to get it again here in May. A 244 average, 6 home runs, 15 RBIs, and an 821 OPS. A little bit of a slowdown, but is still rocking it. And his teammate now leads at first base. I say leads, but just basically had the month of May wrapped around his fingers. Nick Kurtz, a 333 average, just 5 home runs, but wrapped in 26 RBIs, a 1.025 OPS for him. At second baseman, we've got a rookie that's been standing out since he got the call from Cleveland. It's Travis Bazzana, my guy Travis Bazzana, who batted .311 with 3 homers, 11 RBIs, and an 874 OPS. I'm telling you, this guy is the future for second baseman. I love his play style. He's been so good for Cleveland early on here. At third base, there's a Rays third baseman who's just one of the best in baseball, Junior Caminero, a 305 average, 5 home runs, 13 RBIs, a 947 OPS. At shortstop, Bobby Witt Jr. is taking the cake here, a 283 average, 7 home runs, 11 RBIs, and an 853 OPS. Nothing that stands out too much here for Bobby Witt, but among the shortstop, he was the best in my mind. Which brings us to the 3 outfielder spots. The first 2, very easy. Cody Bellinger from the Yankees came in with a 304 average, 5 home runs, 23 RBIs, a 993 OPS. Byron Buxton falls in just after him, a 271 average with 9 home runs, 16 RBIs, a 994 OPS, just 1 point higher than Bellinger's. The last guy, I gave it to my guy, Julio Rodriguez, a 274 average, 10 home runs, 18 RBIs, and an 899 OPS from Mr. Julio. And then that brings us to Nick Martinez for the starting pitcher. And I mean, that's where we get off at right now for Nick Martinez. There were some interesting guys, some players that definitely, you could say had the better month than Nick Martinez, but I found his numbers to be just kind of sensational for, Nick Martinez. I mean, he's got a 1.52 ERA in the month with 29 2/3 innings pitched. He struck out 17 batters while going 3-0 for the Rays. I mean, this is a Rays team here that, is one of the better baseball teams out there, and you've got a player or a pitcher who has been, sneaky, really good. And I don't think people have been giving Nick Martinez the credit that he's kind of deserved at this point. So shout out Nick Martinez. I think he's had a great month, and he is my AL pitcher of the month. The rookie, even though he's missed kind of the last, couple days or so, Muntaka Murakami has been tearing it up. His injury is going to keep this rookie race maybe a little bit closer because he has been pulling away just a tad bit in the AL side of things. He had a 244 average, with 8 home runs, 18 RBIs, and a 938 OPS. He maybe could have gotten over 10 home runs if he was healthy and still going. And then for special slash DH, I kind of went for another first baseman because Nick Kurtz was like the clear best first baseman. But a player who was like the clear second best in the AL was Jonathan Aranda from your Tampa Bay Rays. A 374 average, by the way, 4 home runs, 18 RBIs. He had a 1.024 OPS. The only 2 players who one-dotted in the month of May for the AL were Nick Kurtz and Jonathan Aranda, both playing first base. So I had to make sure to include him as well, give him his flowers that he so deserves. So yeah, that is your AL Players of the Month. That brings us to our NL Players of the Month, the other side of things. I gotta say, the NL players kind of balled out just a little bit more than the AL players did. Catcher, Keibert Ruiz, 379 average, 4 home runs, 16 RBIs, a 1.107 OPS for him. He's a player who's always trying to figure things out. Of course, he was once one of those top prospects in the trades that the Nationals ended up getting. He's been always figuring things out. He's always been either really good or he's been struggling hard. He's been like that for a lot of his career, but it's nice that he had a good month of May here. A lot of good first basemen on the NL side of things this month, but I went with Michael Busch. He stood out to me just a little bit more with a 300 average, 4 home runs, 24 RBIs, and a 956 OPS. Coming in at second base, we have Luis Arias from the Giants. Remember when people were like, oh, he's not going to be that good? He's another player that, the scouts and analytics got wrong when we had this free agency. Last year we talked about Murakami. He's going to strike out too much. He's not going to be good. Ends up on the White Sox. Arias is a hit machine, and he still is that, even if his defense isn't wonderful at second base, which, to be fair, he's been playing a pretty good second base. He's not going to hit for power, a lot of ground balls, double plays. Guess what? He's still a pure hitter, though. He hasn't had double-digit strikeouts yet, I don't believe. He has a 340 average, 2 homers, 12 RBIs, and 885 OPS. He's been phenomenal for the Giants. The Giants have had a really tough season, but Arias has been very good. At third base, Nolan Arenado. Come on, Unc. He still got it for Arizona. A 260 average, 2 homers, 10 RBIs, and an 844 OPS. Nothing spectacular, but stands out among the other third basemen. For shortstop, we've got C.J. Abrams, who has been sneakily one of the best shortstops of the year. Top 3 for sure. A 292 average for him with 4 home runs, 21 RBIs, and a 905 OPS. A Nationals team that is very offensively good, but also not good at giving up or holding runs. And that's why they find themselves at the bottom of your NL East there. Coming into the outfield, J.J. Bleday, probably one of the best players in May for the Reds. A 301 average, 8 home runs, 25 RBIs, and a 1.018 OPS. He's been really good for Cincinnati, kind of figuring out his swing, after a couple of 50-50 years with the A's here. He goes over to Cincinnati, and in his second month with the team, he's popping off in a big way. Another player that's doing so is Juan Soto, really starting to figure his season out with the Mets. A 281 average with 10 home runs, 21 RBIs, and a 984 OPS. And lastly, James Wood, also from your Nationals there, a 311 average, 6 home runs, 15 RBIs, and a 982 OPS. It's really good to see James Wood figuring out his swing, after such an amazing first half last year. He cooled off majorly in the second half. It's good to see him kind of make the adjustments that he, failed to make in the second half last year. And he's been having a really nice season for Washington. Which brings us to our starting pitcher of the month. Now, if you remember, I think last episode or 2 episodes ago, I talked about all of the amazing pitchers that have been pitching in the NL this month. There are so many guys that could have won this award if it was a normal, pitchers month of May here. However, 10 plus guys just stand out. There are so many great options here. But of those amazing 10, 2 really took the cake here. And, although there is a clear winner and a clear one, I picked the guy who was clearly 2. If it wasn't for the guy who was 1, who you already knew who we're talking about here, um, this guy would have won it easily, but I want to give some love, and so instead of it having it be the same guy for both the NL and MLB, I went with Jacob Misiorowski. His month was incredible. Only 1 run the whole month, a 0.23 ERA. He pitched 38 and a third innings while striking out 57 batters, and also he went 5-0 in the month. Absolutely outstanding month from Jacob Misiorowski, and the guy who definitely did do a little bit better than him. We'll talk about that just a second here. For the rookie of the NL, some close candidates here, but let's give some love to Colorado. And how about TJ Rumfield, batting .310 with 4 homers, 12 RBIs, and an .883 OPS. That's how you get it done. Sal Stewart got it, of course, in April. He's hit a little bit of a wall here in May, but he'll figure things out. Lastly, for the special / DH route, we definitely went the DH route here because I've got Kyle Schwarber, who batted .243 with 11 home runs, 19 RBIs, and 896 OPS. One thing I did want to point out here, though, the month of May definitely had quiet home run numbers. The only 3 players that had over 10 home runs was Soto, Julio, and Kyle Schwarber here, ranking in an 11, 10, and 10. Everyone else was below 10. I feel like we don't see that, nowadays. I feel like there's usually, you get like a handful of players, like 5 or 6 guys who get over 10 home runs in a month, and then they cool off for the rest of the year. But yeah, those are the only 3 players that had over 10 home runs this month. So an extra special shout out to those guys here as we now get into what MLB has for their players of the month here. And of course, we start with the players of the month. So for the AL, they went with Nick Kurtz, as I mentioned, at first base for me, a .333 average, a 1.025 OPS, 5 home runs, and a 26 RBIs. Those 5 homers for Kurtz seems very low, but still driving in 26 runs. That's a big guy, and he's doing the work out there in Sacramento, I guess, for the Athletics. So good stuff from Nick Kurtz. And as I mentioned, a player who I think had one of the best months of May, and MLB agrees for the NL Player of the Month, it is JJ Bleday from your Cincinnati Reds. That .301 average, that 1.018 OPS, 8 home runs, and 25 RBIs. His month has stood out tremendously. And you can only hope that it's not just a month for Bleday and that he hopes to continue it on here as we get into June and going into July. The All-Star voting has started. So, hey, vote for your guys. Vote for the players you think are the best. So JJ Bleday, I think, definitely deserves some voting right now. And if he has a strong enough June, I think he should be, one of those outfielders that take over for the NL for, the All-Star game there. For pitchers of the month, the MLB has picked in the AL Spencer Arrighetti from your Houston Astros, who did have a strong month, picking up 29 innings with 22 strikeouts, went 4-1 with a 0.93 ERA. Really good numbers there for Arrighetti and the Astros. For the pitcher of the NL, I didn't say his name, but I did mention that there was a guy who's just been, in other words, out of this world. Not to say that Jacob Misiorowski hasn't been out of this world, because he has been as well. These two have been going back and forth. Right now, it seems like the NL Cy Young race comes down to these two, and I don't know which way I lean, but Cristopher Sanchez had the edge in the month of May. 39 innings with 45 strikeouts. He was 4-0. And unlike Misiorowski, who gave up a run, Sanchez gave up no runs. He had a 0 ERA in 39 innings. Just unbelievable stuff. Sanchez, Misiorowski both deserve all the flowers. They've been, honestly, the best players of the month of May. Their pitching has just been utter dominance. If you face one of these two guys this month, good luck. I wish you the best, because they are on heaters right now, going blow for blow. We'll continue on with the rookies now. The rookie for the AL side, I'm going to talk about Murakami, who, again, 244 average, a 938 OPS, 8 home runs, and 18 RBIs. The rookie for the NL, as I mentioned, TJ Rumfield is MLB's pick as well. That 301 average, the 883 OPS with 4 home runs and 12 RBIs, which brings us to the relievers of the month. Now, we'll go with NL first because, like month of April, it is once again Mason Miller, 9 2/3. So didn't throw a lot of innings this month, but hey, didn't give up a single run while striking out 20 batters and picked up 7 saves in the process. So he is your reliever for the NL. Now, the reliever for the AL, MLB has picked Cade Smith from your Cleveland Guardians. 13.2 innings pitched. He had a 1.32 ERA, picked up 25 strikeouts, and a whopping 13 saves. That is a crazy amount of saves to pick up in a single month, which is what I believe is MLB's thinking when they picked Cade Smith here. But I wanted to shout out the AL reliever of the month last month for April, Louis Varland from your Toronto Blue Jays. A lot of people thought he should have taken over. He's been the best relief pitcher of the year, question mark, maybe edging out Mason Miller. I mean, Mason Miller's stuff is dominance, and his strikeout numbers is out of this world. But Louis Varland's only given up 1 run all season long, and in the month of May, he didn't give up a run. He had a 0 ERA, didn't give up a single run, and it's not like he pitched like, 8 innings, 9 innings. He pitched 15 innings. He pitched more than Smith, and didn't give up a single run while picking up 16 strikeouts, so his strikeout numbers aren't as much as Cade Smith, and he only picked up 4 saves, which, I mean, the Cleveland Guardians end up in more close games, and you have more opportunities for saves. Smith, while, Blue Jays, they've been struggling at times. They are on losing ends, but when Louis Varland comes in, I mean, it's basically, hey, you're not scoring a run. That's what it's been like this year. He's been put on notice because he has been so damn good, so I want to give him a little bit of love, too, because I don't really do relievers in my picks, but I think he could have gone back-to-back with Mason Miller here, but Cade Smith, his 13 saves, hey, it's still impressive, but, that 1.32 ERA for Smith versus the 0 for Louis Varland, it just makes you think just a tad here. MLB also had a team of the month. I forget if they did this in April. I don't think I saw it if they did. But the team of the month for May here includes Keibert Ruiz as the catcher, Nick Kurtz at first base, Luis Arias at second base, CJ Abrams at shortstop, Junior Caminero at third base, JJ Bleday, Cody Bellinger, and James Wood in the outfield. Kyle Schwarber is your DH. Cristopher Sanchez, your starting pitcher, and Cade Smith is your relief pitcher. So MLB thinks Cade Smith was the best relief pitcher for the month of May. That is the story there for MLB's Players of the Month for May, and that brings us to the end of that, which means it's time to start the usual episode and get into our series recap. Leading us off, we're in Boston between the Orioles and the Red Sox. Kobe Mayo, Pete Alonso both going deep 4-2 Baltimore. Wilyer Abreu goes deep as the Red Sox score 5 in the 5th to blow it open in an 8-1 victory. And in their match, the Orioles open the game with 6 runs in the first. They go on to win it 8-2, taking 2 of 3 from the Red Sox. Tigers and Rays. Dylan Dingler, what a game, going 4 for 5 with 2 homers and 4 RBIs. He's also joined by Riley Green and Hao Yu Lee, who go deep in a 10-9 Tigers win. Gleyber Torres, Winsel Perez, and Riley Green all going deep in an 8-0 Tigers win. And in the last game, Jake Rogers hits his first homer of the season. Dylan Dingler hits his third of the series. 7-2 Tigers as they sweep the Rays. Guardians and Yankees. Manzardo goes deep. Travis Bazzana gets a bases-clearing double for 3 important insurance runs in the 8th as the Guardians hold on to a 9-4 victory. Manzardo goes deep again in the second game, as does Rhys Hoskins and Jose Ramirez, as those 3 homers help the Guardians to a 5-4 victory. And in the final game, the Yankees pitching holds the Guardians to just 2 hits as they win it 2-1 to avoid the sweep. White Sox and Twins now. Miguel Vargas has a 2-homer game, his 14th and 15th homers of this season. But Tristan Gray hits a go-ahead grand slam. The Twins win it 9-6. The Twins then came back from down 3 with 4 runs in the 4th. They went on to win it 6-4 the final. And in that final game, the White Sox scored 4 in the 1st. Andrew Benintendi with a home run later on. 8-0 White Sox as they avoid the sweep to the Twins. Rockies and Angels. Jose Siri hits a grand slam. Jake McCarthy, Hunter Goodman, they go deep for the Rockies, who end up scoring 1 more run in the 9th as they break the tie, take the lead, and hold on to a 9-8 victory. In the second game, Hunter Goodman, Willie Castro, and TJ Rumfield all go deep as Colorado wins it 8-2. And in that last game, the Angels score 6 in the second. Vaughn Grissom homers. They blow it open 11-4 Halos to avoid the sweep to the Rockies. Pirates and Astros. Endy Rodriguez, O'Neal Cruz, Brandon Lau all going deep in a 10-6 Pirates win. Henry Davis then hits a grand slam in the second game. Nick Gonzalez homers. And with the Pirates up 4 in the 8th, they collapse as the Astros go on to score 6 runs in the inning. They steal this game and win it 11-9. And in the rub match, Ryan O'Hearn, he hits a homer for the Pirates, who score 4 runs in the 6th. That's the difference in a 5-1 Pirates win, taking 2 of 3 from Houston. Mets and Mariners. 4 solo shot homers make up the scoring in this one from Colt Emerson and Josh Naylor for the Mariners. Jared Young and Marcus Semien for the Mets, which means we need extras. And it's Cole Young, the hero for the Mariners. Another walk-off in the week for Seattle, 3-2 in 10. Game 2, Patrick Wisdom hits his first MLB home run since September 21st of 2024. Yeah, it's been that long. Carson Benz for the Mets, he picks up a 2-homer game. Johnny Pereda and Julio will join Wisdom in going deep for the Mariners, who hold on to an 8-3 victory. And in that last game, the Mets score 4 in the 4th. They will roll to avoid the sweep. 7-1 the Mets, the final. Padres and Phillies now. Bryce Harper hits a 2-run home run. That helps the Phillies in a 3-2 victory. JT Realmuto and Kyle Schwarber both go deep in the second game as Cristopher Sanchez's scoreless streak ends with a Jackson Merrill RBI single in the 7th. Phillies hold on to win it though 3-2 once again. And in that last game, Adolis Garcia picks up his 5th home run of the season. The Phillies go on to sweep the Padres 6-4 the final. Marlins and Nationals. The Marlins score 6 unanswered with home runs from Heriberto Hernandez, Liam Hicks, and Kyle Stowers as they pick up the 7-3 victory. Joe Mack, it's his first career MLB home run in that second game. Heriberto Hernandez has a 2-homer game. He's got 3 on the series, and Otto Lopez goes deep as well. 7-3 Miami in game 2. And in that final game, it's Esteury Ruiz with his 3rd home run of the season in a 4-1 Marlins win as they sweep the Washington Nationals. Blue Jays and the Braves. Kazuma Okamoto ties the game with his 13th home run on the year, but the Braves take it back. Matt Olson, the go-ahead home run in the 6th, his 17th of the season, and the difference in the 4-3 opener for Atlanta. Nathan Lucas picks up his first home run of the year, but Mauricio Dubon and Ozzie Albies both hit 3-run home runs. It's 7-3 Atlanta for the win, and in that last game, the Jays score 3 in the 3rd. They add 4 big insurance runs in the 9th to turn a 1-run lead into a 5-run lead and hold on to it too. 7-2 Blue Jays, they avoid the sweep to the Braves. Royals and Reds now. Lane Thomas hits a first-inning grand slam. Jack Caglione, he homers, as well as Michael Massey in a 9-2 Royals win. In Game 2, the Reds come back from down 3 with solo shots. Spencer Steer, 2 of them, by the way. Will Benson ties the game in the 9th with his solo shot. We go to extras, and in the 10th, it's Blake Dunn with the walk-off single for the Reds, who win it 4-3. And in the road match, Vinny Pasquantino goes deep. Nick Lofton, his first of the year, is some insurance in the 9th. Royals hold on to a 5-2 victory, taking 2 of 3 from Cincinnati. We've got the A's, we've got the Cubs. Nick Kurtz, his 11th home run of the year, part of a 2-1 A's win. Then we go to Game 2, where Seiya Suzuki and Pete Crow Armstrong homer for the Cubs. Colby Thomas goes deep for the A's. We end up tied, and we end up in extras, where Nick Kurtz gets the RBI single. The A's then hold the Cubs and win it 5-4, taking the first 2 games. And Shea Langeliers has 2 homer game in the 3rd game, one of which was an inside the park home run thanks to Pete Crow Armstrong, who was not seeing the ball out there in center field. Tyler Soderstrom and Jonah Heim also go deep for the A's, who have a 5-run lead. However, the Cubs come back. Pete Crow Armstrong, a homer. Ian Happ, a home run. The Cubs score 4 in the 9th to walk it off on a Pete Crow Armstrong single as he redeems himself for the inside the park home run earlier. 7-6 Cubs, the final in that one. Rangers and Cardinals now. DeGrom and the Rangers do just enough to nail the opener. 2-1 Texas, the final. The Rangers then break it. They tie in the 9th. They score 3 runs on 2 singles and a sac fly to go from 4-4 to 7-4, beating the Cardinals once again. And in the last game, Alec Burleson picks up 3 RBIs. He is the difference in a 5-3 Cardinals win to avoid the sweep to Texas. Giants and Brewers now, they played 4 games. The Brewers unload, pick up 7 runs in the 2nd, and it only gets worse from there for San Francisco. They score 16 runs, all without a home run, in a very impressive 16-2 win for the Brewers. In Game 2, Jake Bauers goes deep. The Brewers add 4 in the 8th for some major insurance runs, going from a 1-run lead to a 5-run lead. The Brewers win it 8-3. Game 3 belongs to the Giants as Victor Berricato hits his first career MLB home run. It's the only run of the game. Giants win it 1-0. And in that 4th game, Casey Smith goes deep. Eric Haas hits a grand slam. Jackson Chourio picks up a 2-homer game for the Brewers, who make it close, but the Giants are in control in a 12-9 victory as they split the 4-game set 2 apiece. Which brings us to lastly the Dodgers and the D-backs, who also played 4 games here. Tommy Troy hits his first career MLB home run. Nolan Arenado, Ketel Marte both going deep as well. It's 4-1 Arizona. Into Game 2, Freeman goes deep, his 9th of the season. The Dodgers pick up 4 runs in the first 2 innings. They roll to a 6-5 victory. Kyle Tucker in Game 3 hits his 5th home run of the season, which starts the scoring. And shout out Shohei Ohtani, who goes 6 scoreless while reaching base all 5 times he was batting. It's 7-0 Dodgers, and in that last game, Corbin Carroll homers as the D-backs score 2 in the 8th to tie this game up, and then Ketel Marte calls game in the 9th, a walk-off home run for the win as the Dodgers and D-backs split this 4-game set 2 apiece, and that's your series recap. All right, now let's get into the game of the week, and there were a couple of good ones here, but we are going to Chicago for the Athletics and the Cubs, Game 3 of this series. The scoring starts in the top of the 4th. Shea Langeliers bangs his 15th home run on the season for a 1-0 A's lead. Then top 6, Henry Bolt picks up an RBI double to make it 2-0. And then Shea Langeliers once again hits one out to center. PCA, he doesn't see it. He doesn't track it. It's over his head, rolls to the wall. It's an inside the park home run. Langeliers' 2nd home run of the game, up to 16 on the year, and the Athletics have a 4-0 lead. Bottom 6, PCA kind of redeems himself a little bit, picks up his 9th home run of the season. A solo shot cuts the lead to 3, but still work to be done for the Cubs. As the A's in the top of the 7th pick up 2 more solo shots. Tyler Soderstrom and Jonah Heim go back to back. Soderstrom picks up his 8th of the year, while Heim gets his 3rd of the year. Athletics up 6-1 as they enter the bottom half of the 7th, where Ian Happ blasts his home run, a 2-run shot, his 14th of the season, cuts the lead to half. It's 6-3. It stays that way until the ninth inning, where the Cubs start to rally. Ian Happ gets it going with an RBI double to make it 6-4. Then Moises Ballestarios picks up the RBI single. All of a sudden, it's 6-5. Dansby Swanson ties the game. An RBI single. We are at 6-6. And then PCA, who homered earlier, who gave up the inside the park home run by misplaying it out in center. He is the hero. He does redeem himself, picks up the walk-off RBI single as it bloops down into right center. Cubs win it. They score 4 in the ninth to come back, take a 7-6 victory, avoid the sweep. That is a big, big win for the Cubs, who would have been last in their division had they not won this game. And that is your game of the week. Very good one there. As we get now into the baseball news, and the main baseball news of the week all has to do with Cristopher Sanchez and his scoreless streak. Hats off to Cristopher Sanchez. His historical run ends at 50 2/3 innings pitched. Unbelievable. He's the fifth longest, going back to 1893 when they moved the mound back to what it is today. He falls in under guys like Oral Hershiser, Don Drysdale, Walter Johnson, and Jack Coombs, two of which, it took multi-years to accompany that, I believe, is how that goes, if I'm correct. But Cristopher Sanchez, we haven't seen a stretch like this since Zach Greinke with the Dodgers back in 2015 when he went 45 2/3 innings. But Sanchez puts him in the likes of some elite companies, some elite pitching history. Not only was he fifth now all-time for the longest single-season scoreless streaks in MLB history, he is first in Phillies franchise history. He's also first in left-handed pitchers, something that you might have noticed there when I mentioned Oral Hershiser and Drysdale and Johnson. Bob Gibson is under him, Zach Greinke, etc. A lot of them are all right-handed pitchers. Cristopher Sanchez is the longest left-handed pitcher streak here. It's the fifth all-time, the most by Phillies. Just an outstanding run for Cristopher Sanchez. He nearly could have gotten through this game. That run that he led up, came in the seventh inning. So, if he got through that inning, it would have been, he probably would have been done after 7. And then next thing you know, it's like, okay, we're talking about this streak again, but we're not talking about it ending. We're talking about, hey, he's 8 innings away from the record, from being the most, to get to 60 innings straight scoreless, which would have been absolutely unreal stuff. So shout out Cristopher Sanchez. A fantastic month. He is right now the favorite to your NL Cy Young. Just great stuff all in all. We move on now to let's talk Seattle Mariners baseball, because they have been in a stretch throughout the year of, some ups and downs. They weren't in first in their division. They definitely weren't where they wanted to be. But I got to say, they had a hell of a week here, a week plus, really, when you think about it. The Mariners ended up on an 8-game winning streak. Of course, they lost that last game of the series to the Mets, so their 8-game winning streak ended there with that 7-1 loss. But during that 8-game stretch, they picked up not 1, not 2, but 3 walk-offs. And when you're winning baseball games in that fashion as well, walk-offs are a momentum builder. You got 3 walk-offs. You go back to last weekend, they picked up 2. And then they started off this series against the Mets this week with a 3rd walk-off. They basically had 3 walk-offs in 5 days, but ended up on an 8-game winning streak. Not only have they propelled themselves to first place, they've already started to build themselves a little bit of a gap, a 2.5-game lead over both the Athletics and Rangers, who are at 30 and 32. So the Mariners right now are kind of figuring things out, and you kind of will have this with some teams that we were like, oh, they're going to be good, but they haven't been that good, teams that haven't really gotten off that foot. Listen, we're into the season. We're not in the early season anymore. We're in June. We're basically in the middle of it. But when you're like this Mariners team, like we know what they had on paper: great pitching, great offense. Like they have it all. It just is a matter of time to click, and they're starting to slowly click here. Josh Naylor, a little bit better than his early slump last year, or to start the year. Julio's been a lot better. Luke Raley still has been clutch. Randy's been a little bit better. Colt Emerson, you give a young kid like this a chance, a top prospect, he comes out, he can make a difference for a lineup. That's what he's done. Of course, you've got the pitching that's been working well. Brian Wu, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert's been great. There's Luis Castillo, Bryce Miller. They both pitch on the same day. One goes 5 innings, one goes 4 innings. It's been working. The bullpen's been nice. So, you end up on an 8-game winning streak. You end up on these walk-offs. And all of a sudden, you end up in first place. You're doing really well. So, shout out Seattle. They need to keep this up. In the inverse side of things, if we're talking about the Vetter Cup here, we got to talk about the Padres, who have been ice cold. On one side, you've got this Mariners team who's hot and is doing well. On the other side, you have the Padres, who are on an MLB's worst right now, 5-game losing streak. You look at their last 10 games, they're 1-9. Things are not going well right now for your San Diego Padres. Not only have they been 1-9 and on a 5-game losing streak, they currently fell out of a playoff spot. They're now half a game out of the wild card. And they're now half a game behind their Arizona Diamondbacks. So they're now in third place in the NL West. They're 7 games back of the Dodgers. I'll tell you right now, the Dodgers are one team that are absolutely loving this downfall from the Padres. And you can't really pinpoint it to one thing. Manny Machado had a quote, right? I believe the quote, I'm going to paraphrase it. I believe I saw it saying, "Right now we're just playing like shit." Is basically the quote, and he's right. The Padres have been very bad. One player in particular had been Nick Castellanos, who during the week the Padres DFA. They have cut ties with Castellanos. He was batting 191 with a 590 OPS in 39 games played for the Padres. Of course, they traded for him when the Phillies were getting rid of him. And unfortunately, he has been struggling. You wonder if a team will, make a trade or end up claiming Castellanos here, because he is still potentially a valuable player. He's got the pop when he wants to use it. It's just been a definite tough year for him, basically a tough 2 years when you go back to 2025 here as well. But I think Castellanos still has a little bit of baseball left in him, and I think a team should take a chance on him. But for the Padres' sake here, I think you got to figure it out, whether it is with the pitching or with the offense. I mean, Mason Miller at the back end there has been no problem for the Padres, but it's about holding it, right? They've dealt with a lot of pitchers, injuries. Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish are not healthy and are not there. If it wasn't for Michael King, you have to wonder where the Padres would even be right now, because they're trusting Lucas Giolito and Walker Buehler, really, who are two pitchers who are kind of trying to resurge their careers a little bit. Giolito was pretty solid last year in 2025, but it took him a while to, get going here in 2022, Jesus, 2026. It took a while for him to sign. So far, he's only made a handful of starts with the Padres. He's made 4 starts, going 2-1, 16.2 innings with a 4.86 ERA. So there's still a lot of work to go to there. But I mean, a lot of guys have made starts for them. Herman Marquez made 6, Matt Waldron with 3, Nick Pivetta with 4 before he got hurt. That's a big blow there. Griffin Canning with 6 before they lost him. So right now, the 3 guys who have kind of been holding the fort down, Michael King, Randy Vasquez, and Walker Buehler, all have made 12 starts so far for the Padres. But again, it hasn't been anything great. Michael King, 4-4. Randy Vasquez, 5-3. Walker Buehler, 3-3. ERAs of 3.18, 3.31, and 4.53 respectively. Michael King, despite going 4-4, a 3.18 ERA is nothing too bad. But yeah, you need a little bit more pitching here. The Padres don't have that right now. Manny Machado has 11 home runs. He's batting 174 on the season. Yeah, he's getting the pop, but he has been struggling heavily. Gavin Sheets, 238. He's been one of the best by average standards at 238. They're the only 2 guys higher than that. Miguel Andujar is at a 258 batting average, a 718 OPS. And Fernando Tatis has been the best in terms of average, a 270 average, He's hit one home run, though. That is, he's had his own problems this year that we kind of haven't been going off of. Machado, despite having that low average, leads the team in RBIs with 32. Xander Bogaerts, underwhelming, 231, a 662 OPS. Gavin She's the only guy who has above 800 OPS here for the team that's actually qualified. Everyone else is batting 600s, really. Tatis 663, Bogart 662, Ramon Laureano 660, Jackson Merrill 621. So, all of their main guys have just been not doing it right now. So, the Padres really need to get it going. They need their guys to get hot because right now they're ice cold as you could get. So, that is the news there for the Padres and for the baseball for the week here as we get into our injury updates. And unlike last episode, we have two. Elly De La Cruz on the 10-day IL with a strained hamstring. And another big one, Aaron Judge. He has a fractured rib. He will miss at least 4 to 6 weeks, if not maybe more. So, even though it's a much, much, much smaller list of injury updates, Elly De La Cruz and Aaron Judge are two of the big names in baseball, so those are tough losses for the Reds and especially the Yankees. I mean, without their captain for, you're looking at least maybe 2 months here, so definitely a tough blow for the Yankees. As we now look into our outstanding performances from the week, and there was a nice amount of guys here. Leading things off was Jacob deGrom, 5 innings, 4 hits, no runs, a walk, and 8 Ks. What's most importantly is that he picked up his 100th career win. So shout out Jacob deGrom. He's been such a phenomenal pitcher, man. I miss those Cy Young years with the Mets. He's so good those times. Noah Cameron with the Royals, 7 innings, 1 hit, 1 run, no walks, 8 Ks. How about Gage Jump here? I have to actually click on him and look at his name here because he went 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, and 5 Ks with the Athletics. I did not know who he was. Turns out it was his first career MLB win. So shout out Gage Jump for handling the Cubs. Kyle Harrison, 5 2/3, 4 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, but 12 strikeouts. A short amount of time to make up those 12 Ks. He was lights out. Cristopher Sanchez, how many times are we going to mention him in today's episode? He's the player of the month for the pitcher. He's on this scoreless streak. He also went 7 innings, 4 hits, that 1 run that ended that streak, 1 walk while striking out 8. He's been so damn good. Walker Buehler was his counterpart that game, and he also pitched pretty well, going 6 innings, 4 hits, a run, 2 walks, and 6 Ks. Max Meyer has been very good for Miami recently, 7 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, and 7 Ks. Stephen Kolek from the Royals, 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, while striking out 8. Logan Webb goes 7 innings, only giving up 1 hit, no runs, a walk, and 4 Ks. Shohei Ohtani, 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs, a walk, 6 Ks. Troy Melton's been so good for the Tigers in terms of going the distance. He went 8 innings, giving up 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks. Carlos Rodon, 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Zach Wheeler goes 7 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, and 8 Ks. JT Ginn for the A's, 6 innings, 2 hits, a run, a walk, 8 strikeouts. And lastly, Justin Robleski, he's been very good for the Dodgers this year, 6 innings, 6 hits, no runs, no walks, and 4 strikeouts. That is what's up there. As we now look at the stat leaderboard, not a lot of change has happened here for the stats. Otto Lopez still leads in average. It has dropped down to 336. He still leads in hits as it rises up to 82. Kyle Schwarber still leading in home runs, now up to 23. Andy Pages still leading in RBIs, up to 51. James Wood still leading in runs, is up to 53. Mike Trout scoots out Nick Kurtz. He is now the sole leader for walks. He's up to 60 on the year. Jose Ramirez is back at the top with Nazmi Nunez. 2 of them are tied with 22 stolen bases. And Yordan Alvarez's OPS is still the league leader at 1.077. For wins, Aaron Ashby step aside, you've got company as Gavin Williams joins him with 9 wins on the season, who will be the first to 10. ERA is, of course, Cristopher Sanchez. He's been dealing a 1.46 ERA for him. Jacob Mezurowski's been striking people down left, right, and center as he still leads with 108. And Kate Smith still leads in saves with 21, of course, picking up 13 of those in the month of May, which, again, very impressive. So not a lot of change at the top. A couple of ties, a couple of no longer ties, but in the end, the stat leaderboard is that. As we now look at the upcoming series for the weekend here, some good ones, including the rivalry, the Red Sox in New York to take on the Yankees. Sonny Gray will make a start in this one. That's a fun one. The Bird Battle is back as well. This time Baltimore in Toronto, taking on the Blue Jays there. The O's are. Royals and Twins, I believe, is a 4-game set there. Mariners at Tigers. Mariners are hot. Tigers are not. Guardians at Rangers. A's at Astros. White Sox at Phillies. I feel like that's a sneaky good series. That's a fun one. We've got the battle in Florida. Rays at Marlins. Pirates at Braves is another one of those sneaky, fun, good series there. You've got the Reds at the Cardinals. Giants at Cubs. Brewers at Rockies. The Nationals in Arizona take on the Diamondbacks. The Mets against the Padres. That's an interesting series as well. Two teams that thought they'd be better than they are. And then lastly, we have the Battle of LA, the Angels and the Dodgers taking action here this weekend. And that will now bring us to our playoff predictor. If the season ended today, who is in the playoffs and who is taking it all? In the AL, the A's are your current 6 seed. They take on the Mariners, your current 3 seed. While the White Sox, your current 5 seed, take on the Yankees, your current 4 seed. Mariners beat the A's while the White Sox upset the Yankees. They head to the ALDS. You got the Mariners against the 2-seeded Guardians, while the White Sox take on the Rays in the 1 seed. And it would be the White Sox and Mariners that continue to upset here. We've got a wild card matchup that is now in the ALCS. The White Sox and the Mariners, and it is the Seattle Mariners that take advantage of that. They're playing hot baseball. They head to their first ever World Series. In the NL side of things, the Diamondbacks are your 6-seeded team. They take on the Brewers in the 3 seed. Cardinals in the 5 seed taking on the Pirates in the 4 seed. That's right, we've got 3 teams in the Central, by the way, here. In this situation, the D-backs upset the Brewers. The Pirates beat the Cardinals, so your NLDS matchups. The D-backs against the 2-seeded Dodgers. The Pirates against the 1-seeded Braves. As per usual, the Braves and Dodgers beat up on those teams. They head to the NLCS matchup. Dodgers at Braves. The Braves, of course, beat the Dodgers. They head to the World Series. It is a Mariners-Braves World Series, and if the season ended today, your Seattle Mariners are your 2026 World Series champions, their first ever World Series win. Shout out Seattle. They're playing hot brand of baseball. Keep it up here as we get to the end of today's episode, ladies and gentlemen. A full episode for you here with the players of the month, taking up a lot of the episode time here. But yeah, baseball news wasn't anything crazy. Cristopher Sanchez, shout out him once again, and Jacob Mezurowski, both been pitching so damn good. But Cristopher Sanchez, man, it's been his week, man. He's been on top of the world here, player of the month, scoreless streak. He's been phenomenal. As we get into, the month of June here. This is the day 5 here for June, so we still plenty of stuff to go on. All-Star voting has opened up, so vote for your the players you think deserve to be in the All-Star. And I say deserve. Don't just pick your favorite players on your favorite teams or guys who you think are very good in the past but have been struggling this year. Let's make sure that the right players get elected. Let's do the fan voting justice and get the correct players into the All-Star game here. And of course, baseball is hot in the streets, but we are in a, pinnacle sports time in the month of June here. Of course, NBA and NHL playoffs are wrapping up. We are in the finals matchups, Knicks, Spurs, Golden Knights, Hurricanes, so that's always fun. The FIFA World Cup is less than a week away as well. F1's got their Monaco race this weekend, so a lot of great stuff, guys. Thank you, everybody, so much, and I will see you on Monday.